Hello everybody, welcome back to Just Keep Parenting. Uh, Glad that you could join us today. We're going to talk some more out of our book that we've been following, Easy to Love, Difficult to Discipline, turning the 7 basic skills for turning conflict into cooperation. And we've been talking about children who have a hard time making choices, making decisions, right? And the last few weeks we've talked about developmental reasons, we've talked about learned behavior reasons, and this week we're going to talk about helping children who change their mind, right? In the book, you'll read about a story of a father who asked his child if they wanted milk or juice. The child said juice. The father got juice, and then she said, "Oh, no, I want some milk." So he put it away and got some milk, and then she was back to the juice, right? You want to pull your hair out at this point, right? And so, as we learned in the book, children who are indecisive sometimes have self-esteem issues, right? And that usually is based on the fact that they're feeling down on themselves for something. So a variety of reasons. They could be tired, right? They could be stressed. They could have anxiety. They could have a serious family issue going on that we talked about 2 weeks with learned behavior. It could just be a rough morning, right? Etc. There's a myriad of reasons, right? But through this indecisiveness, right, they're trying to control their environment and their parent or the adult that's helping them with this, right? So that's how they're doing that is they're, no, I want some milk. No, I'm in charge of this. So if I'm in charge, you're going to get me milk. No, I think I'm going to have some juice now, right? They're trying to control that. We talked earlier about a child who picks C when A and B were given, right? They're launching into direct confrontation, right? It's not what I want. This is what I want, right? And you can go back and look at that 3 weeks ago. But these children, right, who are A and B and then back to A again, they're showing passive aggressiveness because they're using passive means to control others. The kids who choose C when C isn't a choice, right, are using that direct confrontation to control others, whereas these kids are passive aggressive. And so in order to help these kids make decisions and make a choice and just have a better life, right, we have to start with a diagnosis. And so one of the things that we want to ask ourselves is it developmental, right? We talked about that a few weeks ago. Is it learned, right? Because maybe we've been permissive in our relationship with them. So is it a learned behavior? Is it just indecisiveness, right, back and forth? Or is it a new behavior, right? Because if it's a new behavior, then we may want to go a different direction, right? Do we think it's wishy-washiness, right? Is it occasional? Is it chronic, right? We have to ask ourselves these questions. If it occurs occasionally, the child may be temporarily overwhelmed by stress, right? We see that in ourselves, right? I just can't make a decision today, right? That's okay today. But if this is a pattern that we're seeing, then we need to think differently about it. So from a developmental perspective, right, when children regress, right, when they go to a younger version of themselves, we've seen it with children when they all of a sudden bring out the baby talk, right? Then they need assertive commands and not choices. So as we think about this from the perspective of the children are being indecisive, right? That's because they're in that mode of, I can't make a decision. And as an adult, isn't it nice when somebody says, you know what, let's just go eat Thai food tonight. You're like, whew, that makes me feel so much better, right? Than this back and forth, and I don't know, and I don't want to have to make a decision, right? That's what the children are feeling. So my friend said, let's go eat Thai food. And I'm like, whew, all of a sudden I'm back up to my thinking brain because I don't have to do it back here because I'm stressed, I'm having anxiety, I can't think. So they need assertive commands. And we think assertive commands sounds rude or mean, right? It's as simple as that. Let's just go eat Thai food tonight. Okay. Then I don't have to make any decisions, right? So they need commands and not choices when they're in that part of their brain, right? So if I had the child that was back and forth with juice, I would say, you know what, Caitlin, you're having trouble choosing this morning. And so here's the milk if you'd like to drink it, right? It's not a game anymore. It's not a back and forth. She needs that assertive command rather than the choice, because for some reason she's feeling indecisive, whether it's stress, whether it's rough morning. And so here it is. Here's the milk if you want to drink it, right? Then she still has a choice. She can drink it or not, right? So commands teach children what to do, whereas choices teach them how to make decisions and keep commitments. So we have to figure that out. Does my child need a command or does my child need a choice, right? Because they're two different things. And so as we figure out, as we make that diagnosis, right, then we can help them, right? If they've regressed, then we're going to meet them where they are. We're going to give them a command and not a choice today. So if this is a chronic problem, then it could be a learned behavior, right? Sometimes children get more attention by changing their minds rather than from being cooperative, right? So if we're in a hurry up mode, we just need to slow down, celebrate their choices of being cooperative, right? And give them that pat on the back, kiss their brain, right? As we use that power of attention to focus on what we want more of, we're going to get that, right? And so if we want them to be more cooperative, then we slow down and we give them all the kudos for being cooperative. So hopefully that will help if you've got a child in your life that is having a hard time making decisions, right? If they're indecisive, right? They change their mind, right? That will help them. So thanks for joining us. Send it along to anybody who you've had a conversation about, because I think this helps not only children, but I think it helps us as adults to recognize, as I was teaching class today, one of the things that we talked about was we're not very different than children, right? The principles are the same. And sometimes we just need to slow down and think for ourselves about our indecisiveness, right? Is it learned? Is it developmental? And move forward from there. So good luck. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.